Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. So today I want to tell you a short little story. So not that many years ago, I was doing quite well financially. That's a little bit of an understatement. I was doing incredibly well. I could walk down a busy street or into a shopping center full of people and know that I was probably somewhere in the top 5% as far as the level of wealth that I had. Now, as often happens in life, things can change and it's not so much the story these days. But back then, I was doing pretty well. All these big online gurus that you see today with their Beverly Hills mansions, their Lamborghinis, their private jets, I was making more than a lot of them. I just wasn't quite as vocal about it. Now, here's why I'm sharing this with you. Back then, anyone looking in from the outside at my life, they must have thought that I lived this incredible life. I was always traveling, it seemed. They probably thought I stayed at all the best hotels and I was able to take weeks or months off when I liked because I had the money, right? That's not really the case. The reality was very different. My lifestyle was one of just constant, high pressure work, just always switched on every waking minute of the day. I was thinking about this international operation. And I had this little statue on my desk, still to this day, of Atlas carrying the world on his shoulders. And I felt like that all the time. Now I was, and I still am to this very day, very focused on my work. I'm definitely what you would classify as a workaholic. I can't really switch off. And sometimes I'll have people message me on Facebook and they want to chat and, just socialize, or someone might ask me to come out for a drink and just, come have a beer and let's go chat. And I politely decline most of the time because I know I've got a lot of work to get done that night. I'm always in a rush, I'm always in production mode, and I'm always short of time. And about the only time I switch off is when I'm laying in bed at night, watching YouTube videos or Netflix for a little while just to wind down. But even then, I'm checking messages from work and my mind is always on work. My life has been this way for almost 15 years. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not complaining. I'm certainly not wanting your sympathy. This is a lifestyle that I chose. I like it most of the time. I get enjoyment out of creating and building things and overcoming all the challenges, mostly in hindsight, but I do enjoy it. But make no mistake about it, I work really, really hard. And here's my point. Any success that I had in the past, it was always followed with a delay by really intense hard work. And a lot of people just don't understand this. They want the rewards, but they don't want to sacrifice what's required. They don't want to work that hard, and nor should they. This life, that life, it's not well suited for most people. For example, let's talk about Gary Vaynerchuk, okay? Now, whatever you think of him or his content, one thing we can all agree, that guy works really, really hard. He's very intense with his work. Now, he charges close to 100 grand for his speaking gigs, and I don't know if he's getting that on every single one, but Gary's doing pretty well financially. I think we all know that. Now, being able to make that kind of income for most people would sound really good, right? But would most people actually want Gary Vaynerchuk's life? I doubt it. Most people would not want a life where they are always switched on, always in hustle mode, constantly traveling to the next speaking gig, in meetings, and always putting out new content. With that kind of lifestyle, you don't get to have a 2-day weekend rest, laying on the couch watching Netflix and relaxing. There's no holiday to the Bahamas or Mexico, nothing like that. It's always about having to move forwards. So here's the point that I'm trying to make here. There's nothing wrong with wanting to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that's it. It is a good life. And sometimes, even back in the past when I had a lot of wealth, a lot more than I do now, I would envy people who would walk into a workplace on a Friday, put in their 8 hours, and then they'd get to go home and they wouldn't have to think about work until Monday morning. I used to actually envy that to quite some level. I used to think, what a life, how good would that be? So if that's what you want, go for it. Forget about working 12+ hour days every day of the week or feeling like you always have to be working more, because there's this big toxic belief that's become more and more prevalent over these past years, and it's telling everyone that they need to be like that. They always need to be hustling, they need to be working more, making more money. And the reality is that most people should be happy with less work, less pressure, less rewards, but they get to have more life, and that's ultimately the goal. So as appealing as it might seem looking in from the outside at someone who seemingly has it all, it takes a very rare kind of individual. Usually something's a little bit off in those individuals, and I'm saying this from personal experience, where they are always obsessing over work, and sure, they might have all these great rewards, but the truth is, from having been in that position myself, it's probably not a life that most people would want. And so working 8 hours a day, working in a normal job and enjoying your life more, less rewards, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great lifestyle to have. So it's just something to think about and that I wanted to share. That's it for today, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. Speak soon.